The alien city was broken, its tall towers cut in half, its streets filled with ash and dust. The war had ended months ago, but silence still lived here, silence heavier than death among the ruins. People gathered around a small chamber, their faces pale, their voices whispers. Inside the chamber on a stone bed lay the young alien woman, her skin pale blue, her silver hair spread like fallen light, her eyes closed as if the world no longer wanted her. "She is gone," one of the elders whispered, shaking his head slowly. "Her heart does not beat. Her soul has left." The others nodded. Mothers pulled their children away. Fathers lowered their eyes. Nobody wanted to look too long. Nobody wanted to remember the war that had taken too much. But not everyone left. A few stayed, staring at the body that once carried hope for their kind. She had been bright. She had been loved, but now she was just another broken memory. Then footsteps came from the edge of the ruined hall, heavy but steady, different from the soft alien steps. Everyone turned, their whispers sharp. It was a human. His clothes were torn, his boots covered in dust, his hands scarred from work and survival, his face young but tired. He looked at the bed where the alien woman lay, and his heart clenched. The aliens muttered in their language, some angry, some mocking. Why is he here, this outsider? This human stranger, but the human did not answer them. He walked closer, his eyes fixed on her still body. He saw the way her chest did not rise, the way her skin had lost its glow, the way her people had already given up. He knelt beside her, his hand trembling as he reached out. "Don't," an elder warned sharply. "She is gone." "You touch a corpse," but the human shook his head slowly, his voice low but strong. "No, I don't believe it." The aliens laughed bitterly. Some turned away. Foolish human, always clinging to hope. "She is gone," but the human leaned closer, his ear near her lips, his hand against her cold chest, his eyes closing as if searching in silence, and in that moment he felt something. It was not a heartbeat, not a clear sign, but a whisper of warmth, a memory of life that refused to leave, faint and fragile like smoke. But there his eyes opened wide, his breath caught. "She's not gone," he whispered, and the words made the crowd stiffen. The elder frowned, stepping forward. "You lie to yourself, you bring false hope. There is nothing left in her." But the human did not move. He pressed his hand more firmly on her chest, feeling the cold skin searching deeper, refusing to let go. In his mind, he remembered Earth. He remembered battles where friends had fallen. He remembered how sometimes, against all odds, one spark had been enough to pull someone back. He had seen miracles in blood and dirt. He had seen life return when everyone thought it was lost. His hand trembled, but he would not stop. "She is still here," he said louder now, his voice breaking the silence of the ruined hall. "I can feel it." The crowd shifted uneasily, some shaking their heads, some whispering curses, others watching with wide eyes torn between fear and doubt. The human closed his eyes again, his lips tight. He whispered words not meant for the crowd but for her. "You're not gone, I know you hear me, fight. Don't let them bury you, don't let them call you nothing. You're still here." For a moment, nothing happened, only the heavy silence. Then, his fingers felt it, a tiny twitch under her skin, faint as a ghost but real. His breath caught, his eyes widened, his heart pounded. The aliens gasped, some stepping back. "No, impossible," she moved. "She cannot," the elder shouted. "It is only nerves, nothing more." But his voice shook. The human leaned closer, refusing to give up. His face inches from hers, his words soft but unyielding. "I will not let you go. Not while I breathe, you are still alive. I will bring you back." The chamber felt colder, yet the human's touch was steady. The silence was heavy, but beneath it something stirred. The girl's lips parted slightly, a whisper of air escaping, so faint it could have been nothing, but the human heard it. He saw her chest move ever so slightly. Gasps filled the room, fear and awe mixing in the voices of her people. The human did not look at them. He kept his eyes on her, his hand on her chest, his other hand holding hers gently, whispering again and again, "Stay, stay with me. Don't leave." The silence broke, not with laughter, not with mourning, but with hope, raw and terrifying. For the first time since the war ended, the aliens saw something they had not felt in months. A spark of life, and it was the human who had found it. The human who refused to believe in the cold silence. The human who touched her heart when everyone else thought she was gone. The chamber shook with whispers, fear mixed with wonder. The people could not believe what they saw. Her lips had parted, her chest had moved. A breath so faint but real, the elders looked angry, their sharp voices cutting through the silence. "This is unnatural," she was gone. "She belongs to the void now." This human plays with shadows, but the human did not rise. He stayed kneeling, one hand holding her fragile fingers, the other pressed gently against her chest, his eyes burning with stubborn fire. "She is alive," he said, his voice steady. "I will not leave her," the crowd gasped. Some laughed bitterly, others backed away as if afraid. "Alive? Oh, she is cursed, she will bring ruin, let her rest, let her be forgotten." The human shook his head, his jaw tight. "Forgotten? She breathes, even if faint, she breathes. You do not abandon someone who still fights." The young ones in the crowd stared at him. Their eyes wide, they had never seen such defiance. The elders frowned, their pride stung by the outsider's courage. One of them stepped forward, his robes dragging across the broken floor, his voice sharp like iron. "Human, you know nothing of our ways." She was declared gone. The rituals were done, her name already spoken into the wind. "You have no right to interfere." The human's reply was simple. "Then your ways are wrong." The word struck like a blow. The hall filled with angry shouts, but none dared step closer. The human's eyes glowed with something they did not understand. He leaned closer to the girl, his voice softer now. "Only for her. I know you hear me, don't give up." "I won't leave you." Her fingers twitched faintly in his palm. So small, so weak, but enough to silence him in awe. Enough to silence the whispers for a heartbeat. The elder saw it too, his lips tightening. No, tricks. Just tricks. But his eyes betrayed doubt. The human turned his head sharply toward him, his voice stronger. "You call it trick because you are afraid. Afraid that a stranger sees more in her than you did. Afraid that your faith has grown cold." The hall went still. No one dared breathe. The human looked back at her, remembering faces of the past, comrades who had fallen on battlefields, voices that had begged not to be left behind. He had promised once that he would never turn his back on life again. Not while he could still fight for it. He reached into his small pack, pulling out strange tools. Human devices battered by travel, wires and scraps of metal. The aliens watched in confusion as he worked with quick hands. "What is he doing?" they whispered. "What madness is this?" He ignored them, his focus on her. He pressed a small device against her chest. Sparks crackled faintly, a hum filled the air. Her body jolted. The crowd screamed, some stepping back in terror, others covering their mouths. But the human only pressed again. Careful, controlled, whispering, "Come back. You're stronger than this, don't let them bury you in silence." Her chest rose sharply, then fell, then rose again, faint but certain. The children in the crowd gasped, clutching their mothers. "She breathes. She breathes again." The elders shouted louder, their fear turning to anger. "Stop this, human, stop now, you disturb the balance. You call down curses upon us all." But the human shook his head slowly, his voice calm but unyielding. "No, I call back life, I do what you should have done. I refuse to walk away." The alien girl's eyes flickered beneath her closed lids, a faint shimmer as if trapped in dreams too deep. The human saw it and smiled through the sweat on his face. "You hear me," he whispered. "I'm not leaving. You're not alone anymore." The crowd shifted uneasily, their fear breaking, replaced with something older, something dangerous, hope that they had buried, hope that they no longer believed in. The elders tried to crush it, their voices sharp. "Do not listen, she is gone. It is better this way." But the children whispered among themselves. "The human believes. Maybe she really lives." The human tightened his grip on her hand, his voice now rising so that all could hear. "You call me fool, but I say this. Humans do not give up, even when all seems lost, even when the world calls it impossible. We fight for every breath, for every heartbeat. We fight until the last moment. And she deserves that fight." His words echoed through the broken hall, the air heavy with tension. Some bowed their heads, some clenched their fists. Torn between fear and awe, the elder tried one last time, his voice cold. "You will fail, human, and when you do, you will destroy what little peace we have left." The human looked at him, his eyes unflinching. "Then I would rather fail trying than leave her to die without hope." And with that, he bent over her again, whispering words not meant for anyone else, words that carried warmth and stubborn love. "You are still here, I know it, come back. Let the world hear your heart again." The chamber grew silent, everyone watching, every breath held. The sound of the human's voice, the only light in the cold silence. The refusal was clear. He would not walk away, not now, not ever. And for the first time, the alien people wondered if this human stranger could truly bring back what they had all lost. The ruined hall had fallen into silence again. The echoes of the human's refusal still hung in the air. The people stared at him as if he had broken some ancient law, as if hope itself was a dangerous weapon in his hands. The alien girl lay still, her body fragile, her breath so faint that only the human could notice them, her chest rising in shallow waves, her lips trembling as if caught between life and death. The elders whispered darkly among themselves. It is an illusion. She is a vessel of emptiness if we allow this. We invite doom upon us, but the human did not hear them. His mind was fixed only on her. He studied her skin carefully, the strange patterns etched across her arms, faint lines that once glowed with inner light, now dull and broken. He leaned closer, brushing his fingers across one mark. His breath caught, for under the dead surface, a flicker pulsed faint. Hidden deep within, his eyes widened. There you are, he whispered softly. I knew you weren't gone. The crowd shifted uneasily, some leaning forward, some backing away. What does he see? Why does he touch her like that? They muttered. The human ignored them. He pressed gently, waiting. And again the flicker came, weaker than a candle fighting against wind, but it was there. A spark, he said under his breath, his voice trembling with hope. Your spark is still alive, the elder heard and laughed bitterly. A spark? Foolish human, sparks die quickly. Better to let it fade than cling to false fire. But the human shook his head firmly, his eyes never leaving her. No, one spark is enough to light a fire again. One spark can save a world. He remembered nights back on Earth, where soldiers had been pulled from the brink, hearts that had stopped only to start again. He had seen lives saved because one tiny sign had been enough to fight for. He would not let this one die. He pulled his battered tools closer, wires coiled like veins of steel, a small power cell humming faintly. The aliens stared at the strange objects, their fear deepening. What is he doing? What madness is this? They cried. But the human's hands were steady. He pressed two small pads onto her chest. A faint crackle of energy ran through her body. She jerked weakly, her lips parting as if to cry out. The crowd gasped. Some screamed. Mothers pulled children back. But the human only leaned closer, whispering, Stay with me, don't fade. Follow the spark, he tried again, this time lowering the energy, guiding it, not forcing it, his voice constant, his hand on hers, reminding her that she was not alone. Her skin shivered, the dull marks glowing faintly for a moment, just a thin line of light, but real. The human smiled through the sweat on his face. Yes, yes. You're still here? The elder slammed his staff against the floor, his voice sharp. This is an abomination. You bring back what should be gone, you risk us all. But the young ones in the crowd whispered differently. We saw it, the light, she glowed again. The human made her glow. The human kept going. Patient, refusing to rush, he gave her time. He gave her hope. Inside her something stirred, not fully awake, not fully alive, but listening. Her lips trembled. Her chest rose stronger than before, and for a moment her fingers curled around his hand, faint but deliberate. The hall went dead silent, the sound of hope louder than any scream. The human looked at her, eyes burning. You hear me? Don't you? You're not lost, you're fighting. Keep fighting. Her eyelids flickered, her lashes trembling, the faintest shadow of movement, as if her soul was reaching out from darkness. The crowd gasped. Some fell to their knees. Others backed away in fear. They could not understand. They had already buried her in their hearts, but now she was rising again. The elder's voice cracked with fury. Stop this, human. Stop before it is too late. But the human ignored him, his voice soft but strong. Too late? No. It is never too late while the heart still sparks. The faint glow spread slowly across her skin, tracing the lines of her body, thin and fragile, but enough to bathe the hall in a soft shimmer. Tears filled the human's eyes. He tightened his grip on her hand. That's it, come back. You're stronger than their fear, stronger than their silence. Her lips moved faintly. No sound at first, only the shape of words. Then a whisper so soft that only he could hear. Why? The human froze, his breath catching. She had spoken, her voice broken, weak but alive. The crowd erupted in shouts. Fear, awe, confusion. Some screamed curses, others cried in wonder. Children clung to their mothers. Elders raised their staffs. But nothing could silence the truth. She had spoken. The human bent low, his voice breaking with emotion. Because you're still here, because you deserve to live. Because I will not let you go. Her eyes flickered again, almost opening, almost seeing him. The spark was no longer hidden. It was alive, faint but burning. and everyone in the hall knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The hall was no longer silent. The alien voices rose in panic and disbelief. Some shouted that it was sorcery. Others cried that it was a miracle. The elders slammed their staffs trying to control the crowd. But their own eyes betrayed fear. On the stone bed, the alien girl's lips had moved. A whisper had slipped out, faint as the wind. But real, alive, undeniable. The human leaned closer, his hand still holding hers. His voice steady even as his heart raced. "Stay with me, don't stop now. You are stronger than the dark." Her chest rose in shallow breaths. Each one a battle, each one pulling her back from the edge. Her eyelids flickered again, silver lashes trembling, as if she fought some invisible chain that held her down. The crowd pressed forward, torn between curiosity and terror. Mothers clutched their children tightly, whispering prayers. Young ones peered with wide eyes, seeing something they had never been taught to believe in. Hope. The elder shouted over the noise, his voice sharp and cold. "Stop this madness. She is not truly alive. She is trapped between worlds. To awaken her fully is to invite disaster." But the human shook his head, sweat dripping from his brow, his voice rising. "No, she is alive. Her heart is fighting. I will not abandon her." He pressed his hand more firmly to her chest, feeling the faint rhythm there, not steady, not strong. But trying, her lips parted again. This time a small sound escaped, a broken gasp, raw and painful. Her whole body shivered as if the struggle inside her tore her apart. The human bent low, whispering, "Breathe. Just breathe. I am here. You're not alone." Her fingers twitched in his palm. Curling tighter, the glow on her skin flickered weakly, fading in and out like a dying star. The elder sneered, "See, it cannot last. She is breaking apart. Let her go, human, before you destroy her." But the human's jaw tightened, his voice unyielding. "I will not let go. Even if the world commands me, I refuse." The glow returned, stronger this time, spreading across her arms and chest, her body arching slightly as if waking from a nightmare. The sound of her ragged breath echoing in the chamber. Gasps filled the crowd, some dropped to their knees. Others shouted in fear. "She lives, she lives!" Her eyes fluttered, half opening for the first time, silver light glinting weakly. Her gaze unfocused, but it moved, slowly turning toward the human. His breath caught, his heart pounding. "Yes, look at me. Don't stop now." Their eyes met for just a moment, fragile and fleeting, but enough to break the weight of silence that had hung over the ruins for months. The elder roared in fury. "This cannot be, it is forbidden. No one returns once the void has claimed them." But the girl's lips trembled, and a broken word slipped out. "Why?" Her voice was so faint that many did not hear. But the human heard it, and his reply came without hesitation. "Because you are worth saving, because you are not gone, because your heart still speaks." Tears gathered in her eyes, a single drop sliding down her pale cheek. The first tear she had shed since her world fell to ashes. The crowd gasped again, some covered their mouths. Others whispered in awe. "She cries, she feels. She is alive." Her body shuddered violently, the glow flickering as if it would die. Her breaths uneven, too fragile to last. The human quickly adjusted his tools, feeding small currents of energy into her chest, guiding her spark, steadying it, whispering encouragement with every pulse. Stay with me, breathe, fight, don't give up." The struggle was painful, every breath dragging her from darkness, every flicker of light a war inside her. She groaned weakly, her body trembling under the strain. The elder cried out, "This is wrong, human, you torture her. Let her fall back to silence, let her be at peace." But the girl's hand tightened around his, her weak voice rasping, "No, I want to stay." The words struck the hall like thunder. The crowd froze, their eyes wide. The elder fell silent, for no one could deny her will. The human leaned close, his voice breaking with emotion. "Then fight, stay, I will fight with you. I will not let go." Her breaths grew steadier, still fragile but no longer fading. Her glow no longer flickered like dying embers. It burned faint and constant. The human smiled through his exhaustion, his eyes never leaving hers. "That's it, you're coming back." One step at a time, the hall filled with whispers. Some voices hopeful, some terrified, but none could look away. None could deny that the impossible was happening before their eyes. The alien girl, once thought gone, once abandoned, was fighting her way back, not because of their rituals, not because of their rules, but because one human refused to let her go. Her struggle was not over, her body still weak, her heart still unsteady, but her will had spoken. And that will was enough. She had chosen to live. And as the human held her trembling hand, everyone in that hall realized the truth. The human's touch had done what their whole people had failed to do. He had touched her heart and reminded her of life. The awakening had begun, and there was no turning back. The ruined hall stood frozen in time. No one moved, no one dared speak too loudly. The girl's faint words still echoed in their minds. She had chosen to stay, to live. And the human's voice had been the anchor that pulled her back from the void. The human leaned closer, his hand still wrapped tightly around hers, his breath uneven but steady. "You're safe now, I've got you. Don't let go," he whispered. Her lips trembled as if shaping words, her voice broken, fragile like a child's. Why did you save me?" Her question was not full of strength, but of disbelief, as if she had never expected to be given another chance, as if her existence had no meaning to those around her. The human's eyes softened, his voice firm but gentle. "Because no life is worthless, because you matter, because you still had breath left in you." A tear rolled slowly from the corner of her eye, falling across her pale cheek. Glistening in the weak light of the ruined chamber, the people gasped softly, whispering among themselves. "She cries. She feels," one voice said, trembling. "Her soul has returned." The elders shook their heads, their faces hard. "No, this is dangerous. Her return is a curse," they muttered, but their voices lacked the strength they once had. The girl turned her head slightly, her eyes half open now, silver light faintly shimmering within. She looked at the human. Confusion and pain mixed with something new. "Hope," I thought. "I was nothing," she whispered, her words breaking as tears followed one after another. "They said I was gone. They left me in silence. They did not wait." Her people bowed their heads, guilt stabbing their hearts, for they had indeed turned away. They had already spoken her name into the wind as if she was dust. The human's hand tightened around hers, his eyes locked on hers. "They gave up, but I won't. I don't care what they say. You are here. And that is enough." Her chest heaved with soft sobs, each tear falling heavier. She had not cried since before the war, since before her family was lost. She had held every pain inside until nothing was left but silence. But now the dam broke and her tears flowed freely. The crowd shifted uneasily, some with shame in their eyes, others in awe. They had never seen her weep, never thought she still had the strength to feel. The elder stepped forward again, his voice shaking with anger. "This is weakness, human. You poison her with false comfort. Tears will not save her. She belongs to the void." The girl flinched at his harsh words, but the human bent low, shielding her from his cold gaze, his voice steady. "No, her tears mean she is alive. They mean her heart still beats. They mean she has something left to give." Her trembling hand squeezed his weakly, her lips forming a whisper that cracked the silence. "Thank you." The human's chest tightened at those words, his throat dry, but he nodded. "You don't need to thank me, just keep breathing. That is enough." Her glow flickered again, but this time not from weakness. It was steady, spreading softly across her skin. The lines that had dulled now carried faint silver light. Her people gasped louder, some even covering their mouths. "She shines again," they whispered. "She is not lost," the elders barked in anger, their staffs striking the ground. "This cannot be. It is unnatural. She must not return. The human must be stopped." But their words were drowned out by the sight before them, the girl weeping, her tears falling not in despair but in relief, in release, in the fragile joy of knowing she was still alive. She looked at the human again, her eyes wet, her voice trembling. "Why do you care?" "I am not of your kind," the human smiled faintly, exhaustion in his eyes but also fire. "Because it doesn't matter. Human or alien, life is life, heart is heart, and I will not let any heart be thrown away." Her tears came harder now, sobs shaking her frail body. But they were not the sobs of emptiness. They were the sobs of someone waking after too long in darkness, someone realizing she was not alone. The crowd that once mocked now stood quiet, humbled, their eyes reflecting shame and wonder. Even the children clung to their parents silently, their gazes fixed on the human and the girl. The elder tried once more, his voice sharp. "You defy our laws. You bring danger to us all. She should not be here." But before the human could answer, the girl herself spoke, her broken voice cutting the air. "I want to live." The chamber fell into silence again, her tears still rolling. But her voice now carried a will that no elder could erase. The human bent low, brushing her damp cheek gently with the back of his hand, whispering, "Then live and let no one take that from you again." Her eyes closed briefly, her hand still clutching his, her chest rising with steadier breaths, her tears drying slowly, leaving behind the glow of new strength. The elders looked shaken, their authority cracked, their people no longer blind to what unfolded before them. The human's presence had changed everything. Everyone thought she was gone, but now through tears and defiance her heart spoke again, and it was the human who gave her the courage to let it be heard. The ruined hall pulsed with unease. Whispers clung to the broken stone walls like shadows. The alien girl's tears had silenced even the loudest voices. Her fragile words had pierced through fear and doubt, but not everyone was ready to accept her return. The human still knelt at her side, his hand holding hers firmly, his voice low, steady. "You're not alone anymore, I will fight with you." Her faint glow spread again, soft silver lines tracing across her skin. Each breath steadier than before, her people watched in awe, but the elders' faces darkened with rage. One of them raised his staff, his voice cold. "This cannot stand." She was already given to the void. Her return breaks the law of balance, and this human defiles our ways. The crowd stirred nervously, some lowering their heads, others clenching their fists. Fear gnawed at them. Fear of the elders, fear of change. The human looked up, his jaw tight, his eyes burning. "Your laws left her to die. I will not bow to them, she lives. And that is enough." The elder slammed his staff down, sparks of energy flashing at its tip. "Then you, human, are a threat to our order. And threats must be broken." The girl's weak voice cracked through the tension, trembling but clear. "No, he saved me, you abandoned me." Her words struck deep. The crowd gasped, shame spreading like fire among them. Mothers clutched their children. Fathers looked away, guilt heavy in their eyes. The elder's lips curled in anger, but before he could speak, heavy footsteps echoed from the entrance. Armored soldiers entered, their silver blades catching the dim light, their faces hidden under helmets. The people whispered in fear. "The enforcers. They have come." The elder pointed sharply at the human. "Seize him, he defies the law. He has stolen life from death." The soldiers moved forward, their boots striking the floor like drums of judgment. The crowd stepped back, forming a wide circle around the bed, leaving the human exposed. The girl's grip on his hand tightened desperately, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't let them take you," she whispered, her tears starting again. The human leaned close, brushing her damp cheek, his voice calm even against the danger. "I won't leave you." No matter what, the soldiers raised their weapons, the glow of their armor filling the chamber with cold light. The crowd held its breath, waiting for the clash. The human rose slowly, still holding the girl's hand, his back straight, his voice loud enough for all to hear. "If saving her is a crime, then I stand guilty. But I will not surrender her life, not to your fear, not to your laws." The soldiers hesitated, their blades trembling slightly. They had seen what happened. They had seen her awaken, her glow return, her voice break the silence. Doubts flickered even in their trained hearts. The elder shouted again, desperate, "Obey your orders, strike him down, or you bring ruin upon us all." But before the soldiers could move, the girl struggled, her body weak but her voice breaking through. "He touched my heart when all of you turned away. He gave me breath when you gave me death. If you take him, you take me too." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The soldiers froze, their eyes darting between her glowing form and the human standing tall beside her. The human's grip tightened on her hand, his voice softer now for her alone. "No one will take you, not while I still breathe." The elder's fury boiled, his voice cracking. "You dare defy the will of our people." But this time, the crowd did not echo him. Silence spread, heavy and dangerous. Many bowed their heads, ashamed. Others looked at the girl with trembling awe. The soldiers lowered their weapons slightly, uncertain, one finally speaking in a low voice. "Elder, she lives. She speaks. Perhaps the human is not our enemy." The elder spun on them, his face red with fury. "Fools, do you not see? This breaks everything we stand for." The human stepped forward, shielding the girl with his body, his voice sharp. "No, it breaks only your pride. You could not save her, so you called her gone. But she was never gone, you just stopped believing." The crowd erupted in whispers. Shame, anger, hope, fear, all tangled together. The girl's tears shimmered in the dim light, falling against her glowing skin. She whispered, her voice trembling but stronger now. "They thought I was gone, but you touched my heart. And now I live." The human bent low, his forehead touching hers gently, whispering, No one can take that away from you, not even kings. Not even laws. The soldiers stepped back slowly, the elder shouting in vain, his power crumbling before the sight of the impossible, before the sound of a girl who had chosen to live and the human who refused to let her go. But deep in the elder's eyes, a darker fire burned, his pride wounded, his authority slipping, and he swore silently that the price of hope would be blood. For now the human stood victorious, the girl alive, her tears drying into faint smiles of fragile trust. But the storm was not over. The storm was only waiting. The hall that once echoed with despair now trembled with whispers of hope. The girl was alive, fragile but breathing, her hands still locked in the human's, her glow returning piece by piece. The soldiers who had come to chain him stood frozen, their weapons lowered, their eyes unsettled. The elder's fury shook the chamber. His staff slammed against the floor. "This cannot be," he roared. "The human breaks our laws, her life is stolen. He must be punished." But his words no longer carried the weight they once did. The people's eyes were not on him. They were on the girl, the one they had left behind, the one who now looked at them with tear-stained cheeks and trembling breath. Her voice was weak but clear, trembling with new strength. "You called me gone. You turned your backs, but he stayed. He touched my heart when no one else would." Her people bowed their heads, shame rolling through them. The mothers who had wept for their children, the fathers who had lost all courage, the young who had been taught never to hope again, now saw hope living before them. The human helped her sit up slowly, his arm steady behind her. She winced in pain but did not let go of his hand. Her glow grew brighter, spreading down her arms and across her chest, a living light the hall had not seen in years. The soldiers stepped back further, their weapons forgotten. One whispered under his breath, "She is truly alive. No law can deny it." The elder's face twisted with rage. He raised his staff to strike, to shatter the fragile peace, but the human stepped forward, shielding her with his own body, his voice sharp. "Enough, you would kill her again. You would kill hope itself just to protect your pride." The elder's hand trembled, his fury clashing with fear, for in the girl's glow he saw something he could not control, something greater than his power. The girl's hand reached weakly toward the staff, her trembling voice cutting through the air. "Stop, no more, I will not be bound to your laws. I will not be silence again." The staff's glow flickered and died. The elder staggered back as if struck. His authority cracked beyond repair. The people gasped. Some dropped to their knees. Others raised their hands toward her as if she were a miracle reborn. Tears filled her eyes again, but they were no longer tears of despair. They were tears of freedom, tears of a heart once buried now awake. She turned to the human, her voice breaking with gratitude. "You gave me back my life when even I believed it was gone." The human smiled faintly, exhaustion heavy in his eyes, but his voice steady. "You gave it back yourself?" "I only reminded you to fight." She shook her head weakly, her tears falling against his hand. "No, you refused to let go. You refused when even I had given up. No one has ever fought for me like that." The hall filled with whispers of awe, the people realizing that it was not their rituals, not their laws, not their leaders that had saved her, but the stubborn will of a human who would not surrender. The soldiers lowered themselves to one knee, their voices steady. "She lives, and we will not strike against her." The elder's cry echoed in vain, but no one followed him, his voice lost in the tide of change. The human helped the girl rise to her feet, her legs shaking, her body frail, but her spirit burning brighter with every heartbeat. The glow spread fully now, wrapping her in silver light, the mark of life undeniable. The people bowed their heads, tears falling, whispers spreading. "She lives. She is restored." Her heart beats again. The girl raised her trembling hand, her voice steady despite the weakness of her body. "Do not fear life, do not bury hope. It is stronger than your laws, stronger than your silence. I am proof." The human stood at her side, his head held high, his hand still locked with hers. The hall glowed with her light, a light reflected in the eyes of her people. The elder stumbled away, broken, his pride shattered, his power gone, for the heart he tried to bury now shone before all. The girl turned again to the human, her voice soft. "Everyone thought I was gone, but you touched my heart and I will never forget it." He smiled faintly, his scars lit by her glow. "Then live and carry that light forward. Let no one take it again." She nodded, tears running down her cheeks but her smile breaking through. For the first time since the war she felt alive. truly alive, and as the people bowed before her, not out of law but out of hope, the truth settled like dawn after endless night. Everyone thought she was gone, but the human had touched her heart, and in that touch he had restored not only her, but the spirit of an entire people. The silence of death was gone, the light of life returned, the heart restored.